Sometimes the darkest terrors don't come from the shadows. They walk among us, smile at us, and speak with the softest voices. Imagine sitting next to a person, laughing at a joke, only to find out later they were hiding an unearthly secret. A man who seemed charming, intelligent, and harmless. Until you realize, he never really took off his mask. Tonight, we are diving deep, beyond what the documentaries dare to show, into the haunted psyche of Ted Bundy. But I must warn you, once you step into this world, there's no turning back. Because long after this video ends, you may still feel his eyes watching from the dark corners of your room. So, are you ready to hear what really happened? To the outside world, Ted Bundy was the perfect mask. A law student, a volunteer for a crisis hotline, a man who could easily win you over with a smile. But behind that carefully crafted facade lay something twisted, something cold, something that still echoes through time. In January of 1974, Bundy began his reign of terror. January 4th, Karen Sparks, a University of Washington student, was attacked in her basement apartment in Seattle. A violent assault that left her with lifelong injuries. But she survived. Less than a month later, on February 1st, 1974, Linda Ann Healy, another University of Washington student, vanished from her bedroom without a trace. Her bed was made, her clothes laid out neatly, but she was gone. Some say even today, people in that house hear soft footsteps in the night, doors creaking open on their own, as though her spirit lingers, searching for answers. But even before these horrors, Bundy showed signs few could understand. In 1976, Dr. Al Carlisle, a prison psychologist, was assigned to assess Bundy after his first arrest in Utah. Carlisle would later write in Violent Mind that Bundy seemed calm, almost too calm. But beneath that calm was a storm of darkness. Carlisle described seeing something flicker in Bundy's eyes, like a shadow moving just behind them. A mind so fractured, it defied reason. Bundy later spoke about an invisible force driving him, something he never fully controlled. And in Conversations with a Killer, recorded in 1980, Bundy's voice carries a chilling calm as he describes a need, a compulsion, like a dark whisper that never stopped. What if that force was something real, something ancient, something still lingering? But perhaps the most haunting part of Bundy's story comes from those who faced him and lived. In The Phantom Prince, Elizabeth Kendall, Bundy's longtime girlfriend, writes of nights in the early 1970s when she would wake to find him standing over her. Just staring, his eyes cold and distant. Imagine sleeping beside someone you trust, only to realize later you were never safe. In 1978, Kathy Kleiner Rubin, survivor of the infamous Chi Omega attacks in Florida, recalls waking to Bundy standing over her, his face shadowed, almost inhuman in the dark. After the attack, for years, she felt shadows move in the corners of her room, and the floorboards creaked under phantom steps. What if part of him never really left those he terrorized? Even after his death on January 24th, 1989, stories of strange occurrences connected to Bundy's life never stopped. His childhood home in Tacoma, Washington, has been the site of unexplained cold spots. Doors slamming shut and the feeling of being watched. Construction workers reportedly refused to continue remodeling, claiming that tools went missing and unseen hands pushed them on ladders. And in courtrooms in Florida, where Bundy once stood trial, night guards speak of hearing footsteps, echo through empty halls, and unseen voices whispering their names. But it's what happened in his final days that will chill you to the bone. Polly Nelson, his final lawyer, wrote in Defending the Devil that in the last hours before his execution, Bundy would often stop mid-sentence, staring past her, eyes fixed on something or someone just behind her. And when she asked what he was looking at, he only smiled and whispered, "They're waiting." Who was waiting? And if they were waiting for him, Are they still waiting for someone else? Psychologists like Carlyle and writers like Michaud and Ainsworth hinted at something terrifying. What if Ted Bundy was not merely a man consumed by darkness, but a vessel? What if an ancient dark presence used him as a mask, a face to wear, to walk among us unnoticed? And what if, when he died, it didn't die with him? Some survivors, even now, decades later, claim to dream of him, hearing him whisper secrets only they know. So, when you hear footsteps behind you in the night, or catch a shadow where there shouldn't be one, ask yourself, what if it's not just your imagination? What if it's something that wore a man like Ted Bundy as a suit, and now it's looking for a new face? Bundy once described his urges as a malignant being inside him, something he tried to fight, but in the end, he surrendered to it. But what if that being was never really just inside him? What if it was something far older, far darker, something that still lingers? For decades, experts have tried to understand what made Bundy different. Was he a psychopath? A sociopath? Or was there something beyond science? Something no psychology textbook could explain? Bundy himself hinted at this in his final interviews. He spoke about being possessed by urges that took over and made him feel like a different person. Serial killers often dehumanize their victims, but Bundy? He dehumanized himself, describing his actions as if they belonged to something else, not him. And what if that something else is still out there, slipping from one face to another, looking for someone new to wear? After all, darkness doesn't die, it just finds a new mask. Even today, those who have studied Bundy's case for years admit to feeling his presence in strange ways. Kevin Sullivan, an author who wrote extensively about Bundy, once confessed that he would wake up in the middle of the night while writing his books, heart pounding, feeling like he was being watched. Others who have spent time in Bundy's old haunts, his childhood home, the places where he committed his crimes, report disturbing experiences, shadows where there shouldn't be any, unexplained whispers, the feeling that something is still lurking. Could it be Bundy? Or could it be whatever wore him like a mask? And if that's the case, who's next? If you've made it this far, tell me, have you ever felt like you're not alone when you should be? Have you ever heard whispers when there's no one around? Drop your experiences in the comments. And if you want more stories that will chill you to the bone, don't forget to like and subscribe, because next time we're going deeper into the shadows most people fear to enter. And remember, if you hear a voice when you're alone, don't answer. They're waiting.